You gonna catch that fish? There's your gun range. Be careful, there's some clown up there shooting and screaming at people. Apparently we're trespassing if we're in the river. There's something in the woods. Ah! Oh!
Have you ever felt completely helpless during a terrifying camping encounter? Imagine waking up to a brick shattering your window or having gunshots fired at you just for fishing on a quiet creek. What would you do to protect your family in that exact moment? Brad, the creator of the YouTube channel Exploring with Brad, is known for filming outdoor adventures across Ontario. On February 19th, 2026, he entered a forest alone that was linked to stories about a mysterious figure called the Blue Man. The trip began quietly among the trees and winter silence, but an uneasy feeling appeared almost immediately. What should have been a relaxing escape soon became something far more disturbing.
Place is basically plagued by this phenomenon known as the Blue Man, and get this party started. So let's go, guys. You almost blind yourself. I accidentally put the light in my eyes. That wasn't fun, was it? Okay, we're going. Oh, I heard it again, but I heard like movement, like there was running. And like a bird-like creature, like it sounds like some sort of basically a raptor bird. That's what that sounds like. I heard that running though. I don't know if the camera picked it up or not. Coming from over here. Okay, I'll go down there.
As Brad moved deeper into the woods, a sudden hiss or low growl broke the silence. It sounded like an animal, but he could not identify it. He also heard movement nearby, although nothing was visible. Believing it was probably wildlife, Brad continued toward his campsite. After arriving, he built his shelter and left a small opening at the top.
Yeah, so I have like a few walls up. Obviously, if it rains, I'm out of luck because I left an opening at the top. But I kind of wanted that and stuff, so...
He later lay inside the tent and fell asleep while his spirit communication device continued running beside him. During the night, Brad suddenly woke to loud knocking outside the shelter.
We were butchered with our stomachs empty. Pieces of my body scattered. Will you help me find them?
It sounded like something was on the other side of my... It sounded like something was on the other side of my tent. That scared the hell out of me. There's something out there. Hello?
Softer tapping followed, and then a sharp scream cut through the forest. The sound seemed more human than animal. Frightened and confused, Brad looked outside but saw nobody and found nothing that could explain it. While checking the area, he noticed several small wooden objects shaped like eggs near one corner of the campsite. He had no idea where they came from, and their appearance made him even more nervous.
They look like little wooden eggs. What was that? I can't stay here. There's something out there. We better go. I better go. I can't stay here. That was creepy.
Moments later, an eerie voice echoed through the darkness and seemed to be directed at him. Brad decided he could no longer remain there and began packing his belongings. As he gathered his equipment, the same strange voice sounded again from somewhere among the trees. While following the trail away from camp, Brad noticed that a piece of wood he had seen earlier was now missing. Soon afterward, he heard what sounded like someone crying and calling for help from deeper in the forest. Brad moved toward the sound and called into the darkness, but nobody answered. The woods remained empty and quiet.
There's a break, but I remember that there was actually a piece of wood dangling. It's not there anymore. Hello? Somebody out there. Somebody that needs help. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. I could hear somebody screaming help. Sounded like some guy. Let's go. Let's go check it out. Oh man. Hello? Someone out there? This is weird.
As he continued, the distorted cries returned, mixing desperate pleas with frantic screams. The events began to feel connected. There had been the earlier hiss, the movement in the trees, the knocking outside the tent, the scream, the wooden objects, and the voice that appeared to call toward him. Trusting his instincts, Brad ended the exploration and quickly followed the trail out, putting as much distance as possible between himself and the forest. Trees and uneven land can make sounds echo, causing a distant noise to seem closer or come from another direction. Still, the objects near Brad's shelter are harder to explain. Do you think ordinary forest sounds frightened him, or was something deliberately trying to draw him deeper into the woods? On July 12, 2025, the YouTube channel Paranormal Discovery uploaded a video showing the host returning to a lake known for paranormal reports. He brought his dog Kia with him. During the trip, he mentioned an online review from someone who claimed they had been chased out of the area by a mysterious figure in the woods.
Hey, is my dog child. We're gonna go camp out over at the haunted lake. Angelo found a review of some guy. I don't know if this guy was trolling or not. After our first time coming here, we found a review stating that some guy came and was chased out by someone lurking in the forest here. Kind of seems weird and odd to me, but it's a legit review. I mean, if there is people out here or somebody trying to scare people out, I've been driving for about 10 to 12 minutes down this dirt path, and we finally just pulled up. I'm maybe like a 10-minute drive up the road from haunted lake. I'm pretty sure he's back in Ontario as of right now, as I'm speaking legit. It's just me and Kia. So we're gonna take on the spot alone. But the weird thing is we know that there is something lurking up in here. I don't know if it's a person. I do remember when I came with Angelo, we went up to where the haunted lake, we were just checking it out, but I remember coming back to the campsite and our camp was ransacked, but somebody ransacked it. So that's kind of nerve-wracking. We're gonna have to keep an eye out for that. So what I'm gonna do is drive up to the site, set up the tent, have a little cookout, take on the night, because man, it's gonna be another one of those nights, guys, where we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Let's go. We gotta go up. What's up, baby? What's going on? No, we're not walking that way. That's the way back. We gotta go this way.
At first, the host was unsure whether the story was real. However, the atmosphere changed after he reached the campsite. The forest became strangely silent, with no birds or insects making noise. Kia also acted unusually, staying alert but remaining calm. As the host gathered wood and prepared food, unexplained sounds began coming from the trees.
Okay, so I've been hearing something down there. It's coming from that way now. At first, I thought I heard like a Bigfoot thing down there, but there's something coming from down there. Watch out there, Kiki. We're not going down that way. It's kind of sketch because I don't want her going down there. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let you go. Oh, shit. Oh. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Just like that. Okay. Hello?
Whistles that first sounded like birds started repeating in clear patterns, almost as if something was copying or answering him. Soon loud claps echoed through the forest, followed by a long, deep screech. The host began to feel that something was moving around the campsite and watching him.
I just heard a whistle from behind the camera. It's coming from a haunted lake. The lake is that way. Hello? Oh, what the was that? shit. That was a Bigfoot. Okay, back. No. Come, sit. I kid you not, that was a freaking Bigfoot call. Holy shit. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's not happening. No, that's not happening. That's not happening at all. Man, I feel, holy shit, I feel like as soon as I pulled up and got out, started doing things here, my energy started being pulled and drained. I feel like something spiritual is it's hitting me right now. Like I have goosebumps. I legitimately have goosebumps right now. Yeah, you can see the goosebumps on me. Shit, man. Yeah, I have goosebumps, man. It feels like something is doing this to me. I don't know why, but it's trying to get my attention. Wow, sitting here, there's so much spiritual energy coming. Could have heard a Bigfoot somewhere, but also right now, there's a lot of spiritual, like passed on people, probably somebody who used the land. Man, I feel like my brain's just sideways right now. Oh. I don't know what this is.
The sounds of breaking branches and faint voices grew louder. Heavy movement shook the nearby brush while his flashlight began flickering and dark shapes appeared between the trees. Despite his fear, the host entered the darkness to investigate. In the distance, he noticed a tall figure with an unusual shape standing among the trees. Worried about Kia's safety, he ended the trip early and left the area visibly shaken. He believed that something had been deliberately following and observing them. When a forest becomes completely quiet, even small sounds can feel close and threatening. Still, the repeated whistles and the distant figure are difficult to explain. What do you think was watching them from the darkness? One frightening night, someone broke into his vehicle and left him questioning the risks of sleeping inside a van. On November 13, 2022, YouTuber and van life enthusiast Indy Van A. Jones uploaded a video documenting the incident. He enjoys the freedom and simple lifestyle offered by his micro-camper. The day had started well. Indy and his partner spent their time exploring England's Lake District, including a boat ride and a full day of sightseeing. Since Indy had an early work shift the following morning, he later parked in a familiar location he had used several times before. He normally stayed away from the area during weekends because street racers often gathered there. Since it was Wednesday night, he expected the location to remain peaceful. That changed shortly after midnight when several noisy vehicles arrived. Unable to sleep, Indy drove away and found another parking space inside an industrial estate. Large trucks and weak streetlights surrounded the area. With only a few hours remaining before work, he climbed into the rear of the camper and quickly fell asleep. At exactly 3:01 a.m., a brick suddenly smashed through the side window and landed on the seat beside him.
This side, feet were down that side. I had a sheet over that part so no light could get in and all that. It adds a bit of sound deadening too. After the brick came in, an arm followed it, grabbed my work bag and shot back out the window. Male instinct kicked in. I shouted, "Oi!" Started flapping around, opened the back door and ran after them. Before I got to them, they jumped in a van.
Before Indy could understand what was happening, an arm reached through the broken glass, grabbed his work bag, and quickly disappeared. Acting without thinking, Indy jumped from the van barefoot and still wearing his pajamas. He ran through the industrial estate after the thief, but the person reached a waiting van and escaped before Indy could catch up. When Indy returned, he discovered another problem.
Whenever I'm in the van, I get my keys, find the lock button and listen. The van is locked while I'm inside the van. However, there is a little latch down the side of the door to get out. So there's me out running down this industrial estate, trying my hardest to catch them There's nothing really valuable in the work bag at all. A couple of tachograph cards and just all the stuff a driver would need in his work bag. The whole van's alarm system's going off. I tried to get in the back, realising instantly that I had no clothes on. It was locked. Hold on, side door was locked. This door was locked. The alarm's going off, drawing loads of attention to the van. I jumped out the van, left the keys inside the van, and I'd gone running off. The van had locked itself. Luckily, to an extent, luckily, the side window was missing. A brick had just gone through. I had to crawl my naked butt through there into the back to get the keys to unlock the van, to disable the alarm system so that the alarm would stop going off. Just get myself sorted, figure out what to do, what's just happened.
He had left his keys inside, and because the camper had already been locked, the doors automatically secured themselves after he ran outside. The alarm continued sounding while he stood beside the vehicle without a way back in. Since the side window was already broken, Indy climbed through the opening, reached his keys, unlocked the doors, and turned off the alarm. He then checked what had been taken. The stolen bag contained his tachograph cards, CPC card, headphones, sunglasses, lunch, and other work items. Although the contents were not highly valuable, replacing the documents would have required both time and money. After arranging new documents and a temporary window repair, Indy received unexpected news. A passerby had found the abandoned bag and contacted his employer. Everything inside was eventually returned. Even though he recovered his belongings, the break-in left him deeply unsettled. Indy decided to install CCTV cameras around the camper to improve security. Quiet industrial areas often have few witnesses, which can make parked vehicles easier targets. Indy recovered his bag, but the thief could have caused far greater harm. Would this experience make you stop sleeping in a van? A YouTuber claimed he discovered a cave that made his entire body shake. After viewers challenged him to return with a camera, he went back into the mountains and disappeared. On October 18, 2014, the YouTube channel SnakeBitMG uploaded a video documenting Kenny Veach's search for a strange cave in the mountains near Las Vegas. During an earlier hike, Kenny had found a narrow cave entrance shaped like the letter M. The location later became known online as the M Cave. Kenny said the area around the entrance felt deeply unsettling. As he approached, his body began to vibrate, and he felt as if an unknown force was pulling him closer.
It looks just like a gigantic M, and it's about as tall as I am and kind of narrow. So I hope I can find it again. I'm going in there. I'm going to put on my light and take my gun out and walk in there, see if I find anything. We'll see.
Frightened by the sensation, he left without entering. Many viewers doubted his story and demanded video proof. Although Kenny was hesitant, the pressure eventually convinced him to return with a camera. During the second trip, he spent hours hiking through the canyons and collecting pine nuts. His slow progress seemed to delay the search, but the mood grew more uncomfortable as he moved toward the area.
And they are all over the place, and they're so sweet and delicious. There's flies all over. They're everywhere. It was the perfect time to find them because they're just...
The cave never appeared in the footage. After uploading that final video, Kenny vanished. Search teams later explored the region but found no clear evidence of what happened. His phone was discovered near the mine where he had started recording. Months later, Kenny's girlfriend revealed that he had struggled with severe depression for years. He had refused therapy and medication, left his job to start an unsuccessful business, and experienced serious financial problems. She also said Kenny had spoken about disappearing inside a remote cave or mine where nobody would find him. After he failed to return from a 3-day hike, she reported him missing. More than a decade later, his fate remains unknown. Similar canyons and rock formations can make a small cave extremely difficult to locate again. Kenny may have become lost, suffered an accident, or entered the mountains with another intention. What do you think happened during his final trip? Exploring the Unknown is a paranormal adventure channel run by 2 explorers who visit remote and unsettling locations across the Midwest, especially around Illinois. During one trip, they traveled deep into a secluded forest in Michigan for an overnight camp. What followed was far more disturbing than they expected.
Firewood.
This is our normal spot, right?
Yep. Just all the stars.
Turn off your lights.
It is like quiet as well.
Before they had even settled in, both their main camera and GoPro began malfunctioning. The equipment had worked normally in tougher conditions, so the sudden problems immediately felt unusual. When they reached their regular campsite, they noticed that the forest had become completely still. There was no wind, no movement from animals, and not even the sound of insects. The silence felt unnatural. That stillness was soon broken by heavy footsteps crushing leaves and branches nearby. The sound seemed to shift through the brush, but the darkness made it impossible to see what was moving around them. As the footsteps changed direction, both explorers became more nervous. With the woods so quiet, every small sound seemed much louder.
Spooky Mr. Nightmare story I've ever heard ever is like, I can't hear a single thing, not even the grass is moving.
Like, literally, guys, without exaggeration.
Not a single, except for maybe one singular deer hiding somewhere. It's just, it makes me nervous that there's absolutely no sound.
It is cold, but we did see deer out.
Part of me, I won't lie, I'm tired, I don't want to set the hammock. Partly because it makes me nervous that I can't hear a single thing. Yet, it's chilly and I know just a little bit above us there's bound to be wind.
It is deathly quiet here. That's very eerie. Look left.
I thought I heard something maybe not. What do you think?
This.
So what are we doing?
Not staying here.
Yeah, but where are we? You have to put your key in your door. No, you have to put your key in your door. Oh. If the car is locked with the key fob.
There were still no birds, no moving branches, and no breeze despite the cold air. They debated whether to set up their hammocks or sleep inside the car. However, the strange silence and the feeling that someone or something was nearby made them question staying at all.
If you're not invading what? What?
There are prints here.
I need you to vocalize these things. Like what? Like bunny?
Like human prints.
Like barefoot or shoe?
Walking. All the way down there. That's what I'm talking about.
In the end, they packed their gear and left the forest. As experienced outdoorsmen, they trusted their instincts. Wild animals sometimes go quiet when they sense danger. The silence may have had a natural cause, but what do you think was moving through the brush near their campsite? On September 28, 2023, Cunner Outdoors attempted an unusual stealth camp near Thunder Bay International Airport. The trip began calmly as Cunner walked toward the airport, blending in with passing vehicles and pedestrians while appearing focused on his phone. The mood changed when Cunner entered a small area of young trees near the airport. It was not untouched wilderness. Trash and pieces of plastic covered parts of the ground, suggesting that other people had visited the location before. Even so, Cunner continued deeper into the area. From time to time, he looked toward the nearby hunting grounds and noticed security flashlights moving in the distance.
I swear I just heard an alarm going off, but I'm guessing it's not for me. There's that worrisome thing that being this close, that they might actually have some kind of sensor. If you can hear it, I can hear it. But then I'm thinking, all the needles I just found over in that pile over there, which is scary. I don't think they have any way of finding over here. And I'm not doing nothing bad, so if they want to come out and I get busted, it's going to really suck.
He eventually chose a hidden spot among the trees, near a gate along the airport perimeter. There, Cunner prepared noodles while remaining concealed from view. As darkness settled in, the sound of aircraft and distant voices reminded him that people were still nearby. Cunner tried to sleep, but something suddenly woke him during the night. He immediately felt that something was moving somewhere in the woods.
There's something in the woods. There's something in the woods. I'm trying to scare whatever it is away. Hope it's not a porcupine, that might hurt.
Hoping to frighten it away, Cunner shouted into the darkness. Whatever was outside did not reveal itself. Soon a strong, musky odor spread through the area. It reminded him of a fox, but the smell seemed heavier and more disturbing. As the night continued, every snapping branch and rustling leaf made Connor more nervous. He could not see what was moving nearby, and the growing tension eventually became too much. Connor quietly packed his equipment, collected his trash, and slipped away into the night without leaving anything behind. By morning, the airport looked completely normal, as though nothing unusual had happened. Some animals release a strong musky smell when they feel threatened or mark their territory. Still, Connor never discovered what was moving around his camp. Do you think it was only wildlife, or was someone hiding nearby? This footage comes from Ethan Price Outdoors, a YouTube channel focused on fishing, outdoor exploration, and small river trips across the rural Midwest. On August 10, 2020, the creator and his father went fishing along a remote creek in Illinois. The day began without any problems. They moved steadily along the water, catching several smallmouth bass, while enjoying the running creek and the shade beneath the trees. Fish continued striking their lines, and several of their lures worked better than expected. The location appeared unusually productive that day. What had started as a calm and meaningful outdoor trip for the father and son seemed to be going perfectly until the atmosphere suddenly changed.
Going downstream. Wow. Okay, so there's a few nice ones in here. All right, back on that grind.
That's all right. You can fill the gas tank.
That's all right. I'll fill it. I do like fishing in the shade, though. That is nice. I would say that this direction was a much better idea than the other direction. There's one. Another little smallmouth. I probably would have skipped over this spot if you wouldn't have stopped here. Yeah, that's the plan. Maybe do that in April. There's another little smallie. There's a good one. Oh, that is a good fish. That is a nice bass. Nice smallie. There we go. Oh no! Yeah. That was probably another one that was around 13, 14 inch range. Sometimes you got to go back to the basics, I guess. These are the OG lures. That is a ginormous creek chub. There were 3 of them going for it, but I thought it was a smallie. You know, it's a big creek chub when you can lip the thing. Holy smokers. There he goes. Best catch of the day. Woo-hoo.
Without warning, a man approached them on an ATV and accused them of trespassing. His arrival immediately ended the peaceful mood.
Oh, you did not. You went under me. You're good. You gonna catch that fish? Where's your gun range? That scared the crap out of me. Well, that's the first. Well, good luck. There's no service. That's probably why they're shooting guns. I mean, what are you gonna do? Shoot us? Those gunshots, I'm assuming, were the grumpy guy that came down here and told us to beat it. So, and he's calling the police. So, no big deal. We were backing out anyways. We'll see. It'll be good either way. Hey, catching any? A few. It's a little slow, but caught any big ones? Be careful, there's some clown up there shooting and screaming at people. Apparently we're trespassing if we're in the river. Probably a mile.
Probably no more than that.
There's a sign on a tree to the left. I don't know. Yeah, good luck, man. There's a good one. There's a pretty little smallmouth on our way back. Kind of right off that boulder out there.
A short time later, gunshots sounded in their direction. When they looked toward the bank, they saw 3 people nearby. One of them was shouting and claiming that the creek belonged to him. It was unclear whether the section of water was privately owned or open to the public. Instead of arguing or allowing the confrontation to become more dangerous, the creator and his father decided to leave and make their way back to their vehicle. During the return trip, they met other people who had also heard the gunshots. This only added to the confusion about who controlled the area and whether anyone fishing there was actually trespassing. Although the father and son managed to catch a few more fish on the way back, the encounter stayed with them. A relaxing fishing trip had nearly turned into a dangerous confrontation. Property boundaries beside creeks can be difficult to recognize when there are no clear fences or signs. The exact ownership remained uncertain, but firing shots near people was a serious escalation. Do you think they were trespassing, or did the people on the bank take things far too far? On July 5th, 2025, Tommy Dial was staying at an off-grid cabin deep in the Midwestern mountains. The video opened with calm summer activities including fishing in freshwater, making small improvements to the cabin, and enjoying the natural surroundings. At first, it seemed like a normal outdoor vlog focused on simple living and self-reliance. Tommy prepared breakfast, fished in the creek, and completed maintenance around the cabin. However, something remarkable had already been captured in the nearby forest.
After making our way down the mountain, the first thing on our agenda was to get this cabin cooled off because that summer heat was in full effect.
Okay.
As part of his regular routine, Tommy checked the footage recorded by his trail cameras. The first clips showed animals commonly seen in the area, including deer, raccoons, and birds. Then, an unexpected animal appeared.
Where? Oh my goodness. Look at him! If dangerous, why so fluffy? Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, here's the bear. Is that a deer with it? Oh my gosh. Wait. Look at the color of this bear. That is a, they call these like a cinnamon bear. What? These are literally some of the most rare bears. And I'm pretty sure black bears, like less than 5% of black bears are this color. So this is super, super rare to see one of these cinnamon. And they had the camera fogged up. There he is again. Oh my gosh. Holy, that sucker's big. Are you kidding me? They're enjoying the view. Look at them. Oh, a cub. No way.
The camera had recorded a black bear with unusual brown coloring. This coat variation is known as the cinnamon phase, a rare genetic trait found in only a small percentage of black bears. These bears are seen more often in places such as Colorado, making the sighting especially unusual in Oklahoma. As Tommy continued watching the footage, the same bear appeared several times. Each clip offered a clearer view of its large body and distinctive cinnamon-colored fur. The discovery soon became even more impressive. Tommy realized that multiple bears had traveled through the area, with 3 appearing together in one recording. Across all the clips, at least 5 different bears could be identified, including a young cub. This suggested that the location was not simply visited by one wandering animal. The forest appeared to be part of an active route regularly used by black bears. The footage did not show a dangerous encounter or anything paranormal. Instead, it offered a rare and natural look at wildlife that usually remains hidden from people. Do you think Tommy's cameras captured a bear family or several different bears using the same forest path? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.